know you're mostly in distressed debt. So no matter what the ECB does, it really doesn't change what's going on in your book, right?
I don't know. I mean, I think there's room for disappointment.
What strikes you as the most likely from what you've heard?
I'm glad you brought up the word expectations, because Mario Draghi himself helped set expectations very high by saying we're going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, that was about a month ago, right?
And trust me, it will be enough. So he set the bar high, and absolutely, as Hans said, we have seen an easing in financial conditions. If you look at some of the credit market indicators like Euribor and basis swaps, certainly there has been some relief, as we can tell, and that is the problem with the European Central Bank. If it under-delivers, it certainly will have an impact on the markets. As Michael Darda of MKM Partners wrote in a note, the but here is the sterilization. Sterilization makes it not an all-out quantitative easing and doesn't really get at the heart of the monetary problems, which he says are too tight in terms of conditions by the ECB, and it's too little too late.
So, Hans, let's go back in then to Sarah's point on this idea of sterilization.
Sterilizing it.
Look what happened, though, in 2010 and 2011, the S&P program where the ECB did buy bonds. So certainly it had a short-term effect, but they completely wore off.
That's true, but I mean, the point I was trying to make is if you're going to give a gesture to the Germans, you have to say that you're going to do it in a way that's not inflationary. And I think that's the basic tension that you've got in Europe. You've got the sort of general school of economics that you need to ease, and then you've got the Bundesbank and German mentality being terrified of inflation.
Yeah,
so this is the kind of thing. This is how you get it through, and that you work it through the Germans opposing the kind of measures that are probably necessary to make the market work there.
Yeah, as an export economy, obviously anything to do with inflation is a red hot button issue for Germany.
Yeah, but honestly, I mean, think about it. If they have a too strong euro, that's going to impact their exports as well. But I almost feel like the Germans have gone to a different school of economics than the rest of the world.
Well, they're haunted by this memory of very high inflation. And that's why Lorenzo Beni-Smaghi, who was formerly on the ECB, now much more outspoken, writing in the Financial Times this morning, all of the dissent within the ECB, the public dissent, is very dangerous. It needs to be independent, ECB, and needs to be able to build the credibility. Remember, it's only a 13-year-old currency, the one monetary union, and this is really the point at which we will see if that monetary union can function in a credible way with the dissent from the Bundesbank. It's worth noting here that also the German Chancellor today came out and said she supports Jens Weidmann and she supports Mario Draghi. The ultimate question is the Bundesbank and Jens Weidmann going to support Mario Draghi in their effort?
Yeah, and Hans, last word to you. I mean, you've been around the table on many negotiations. What do you think about the ability to come together and these kind of diplomatic gestures to be accepted on both sides?
Well, listen, I think at some level, the Germans do understand that being part of the euro is better than not, than it coming apart. I mean, there was some noise that they could go their own way, but honestly, the banks are too intertwined throughout